I think Merino will play at 8. What he offers, of course, is elite dual-winning ability, and also he presses really well.
The way Arsenal have reinvented their left-hand side, I think Merino's going to have such a huge impact, and we saw at key moments.
Okay, positive news. Mikel, welcome to our home.
There's a left-footed central midfielder who's made a name for himself as one of the best in Europe, even though he's grossly underrated. Does that sound contradictory? Maybe you're wondering how a player relatively unknown has become one of Arsenal's best summer signings. I will show you the reason. Mikel Merino III, known widely as Merino or Mikel Merino, is a 28-year-old Spanish midfielder that played for Real Sociedad until the 2024-25 season. He started his career at Sede Amigo, a small Spanish football club based in Aranguren. From there, his ability to hold the midfield was noticed as he got transferred to Osasuna's youth team in 2014. This was also the club his father, Mikel Merino, played for and coached. In the B group, he started a game in August 2014, his team winning against the Barcelona B team. And in December, after scoring the winning goal that also doubled as his first professional goal, Merino helped his team win against Las Palmas. The next year, Merino was promoted to the main team, with the number 8 jersey becoming his. Ever since he joined the main team, Mikel's incredible handling of the midfield has made him a regular. With the player making 65 appearances for the Spanish side, Osasuna benefited from the player's presence in the team, as they missed relegation by settling for 18th in the league. The next season, he did much better for Osasuna, earning them a spot in the playoffs. In the season, he scored 5 goals, with 3 of those goals being important. The first 2 were in a home win against Gimnastic de Tarragona. This was how Osasuna won the first round of playoffs with a score of 3-1. When the team met once more in the second leg, Merino was sure to score 1 more, helping his club to a 3-2 victory. In mid-February 2016, when talent poachers came calling, Mikel Merino was a name that couldn't be overlooked. Merino signed a 6-year deal with Borussia Dortmund, and on July 1st, the Spaniard was on his way to the home of the Yellow Wall. During the signing, when asked about his feelings towards signing for Dortmund, Merino told the press that he didn't care how much Dortmund was going to play him, emphasizing that he loved playing ball, and was going over to Dortmund to do just that. Michael Zorc, the then sporting director of the club, also called Merino a huge talent from Spain's football academy. Unfortunately for Mikel, Dortmund was already teeming with stars, and the prodigy was undermined so terribly that he was unable to make an appearance for the club until 3 months later. Yet, talents can never be hidden for long. Merino played the full 90 minutes for the BVB boys in a 1-1 draw against Hertha BCS, scoring the only goal for his side. One would have expected that, with a display of talent and command of his presence on the pitch, Merino would be getting more chances to prove his abilities on the pitch, but it was never so. Throughout the entire league season, Merino was only brought in to play 9 times. Luckily for the Spaniard, he got an offer from Newcastle to come play for them. Merino, a lover of football who must have been tired of how little time he got at Dortmund, must have been elated. Not minding that the deal was a season-long loan, with a clause allowing him to stay after a season, Merino signed and was on his way to play for the Magpies. A year later, Newcastle offered Merino a permanent 5-year deal to play for the club. When asked about his opinion on the development, Merino said, "I have been focused on football. It's good to know it's now official." Rafael Benitez, coach of the Magpies during Merino's stay, applauded the player, commenting on how keen he was to learn. But Merino's longing for home, combined with his limited playing time, made him agree to go back to Spain. Real Sociedad was the club that needed his midfield skills and signed a 5-year deal with the player. But what did Merino do differently this time? Standing at 6'2", Merino is taller than most players who hold the midfield. Even better, he has the athletic build that makes him a force in the center. Matching these together, Merino has developed his movements and positions so well that his body doesn't bother his movement. He can keep pace with above-average players when chasing the ball, and can hold the ball himself without losing it. As a central midfielder, Merino is fond of tackling, going after the ball himself to stop opponents from reaching his defense. In the last 365 days of play, anyway. Mikel has been recorded to have succeeded in winning the ball at an average of 83%. He can also stand up to players, with his take-on standing at 77%. The midfielder doesn't score as much as expected, but his total goals for Real Sociedad stand at 27. As an all-round midfielder, Merino's talent is still overlooked. Why? Mikel Merino doesn't get the amount of credit he should be receiving. The player has such tackles and presence that he makes himself a thorn in the side of the opponent, but more than that is his passing. When you think of defense-splitting passes that break the rules of physics, names like De Bruyne and Mesut Ozil always top the list. There's no denying that Mikel isn't at the level of these players yet, but he's extraordinary to watch. No matter how tight a position is or how impossible it seems, Mikel has the calmness and what could only be defined as spatial awareness to know where the ball is needed and get it there. Long or short passes don't faze him, and he's so selfless that he'd rather allow his teammates to score when they're in a better position than risk a shot he might lose. A recent rating ranks the player's passing at roughly 80%. In fact, until the Euro 2024, Mikel Merino was the proverbial parent that suffered in silence so the family could forge ahead. While he was recognized in his team, there wasn't enough traction behind his name as deserved by someone of his talents. Mikel scored a beautiful header that also served as the winning goal in the 119th minute of the Euro 2024 quarter-final against Germany. Merino played 7 games in the Euros, picking up only 1 yellow card as he does. Settling a move between Spanish side Real Sociedad and English giants Arsenal for €32 million plus €5 million in add-ons, Mikel Merino will be putting on a Gunners jersey. Talks of the Euro 2024 winners' transfer to Arsenal have been one of the top discussions across multiple platforms. The Spaniard has also shown keen interest in the move. In a club that has both its first team and bench filled with some of the best players in the football world, what can we expect from the Spaniard? Arsenal has players for every position, but they do not necessarily fill in the spots well. Declan Rice, for example, likes to play on the right side of the field, even though he's usually placed on the left. But Merino has played on all sides of the field, excelling at all points, and since he's left-footed, placing him on the left side of the midfield will help clear up the problem with the left side of the Gunners' pitch. The Premier League is also a tricky place to be, as it's rough, fast-paced, and requires such attention that players sometimes feel overwhelmed. But Mikel has dealt with all of those before, and as he showcased his skills in so many places, saying he'll not be a useful addition to Mikel Arteta's squad would be unjust. But the issue remains, will Arsenal see the worth in this player and let him keep the centre for them? With players like Martinelli, Jesus and Saka holding the striking and wing positions for Arsenal, one must wonder what is left. Well, passes, obviously. The Gunners trio have the speed, strength and shooting accuracy to score terrifying goals, if only the ball could get to them. This is where Mikel stands out. Mikel's passes are made with such accuracy that they either meet the player he intends them to meet or travel just far enough that even players with terrible control can still hold on to them. Imagine Gabriel Jesus or Martinelli getting passes that fall to their feet at points where all that's needed is for them to use those killer shooting skills of theirs. Or Saka, who devastates the right wing with his dribbles and speed, receiving the ball at the exact point where it's needed. There's no telling just how far the team will go. Not only that, his defensive ability will take a bit of the burden from Declan Rice. One of the biggest difficulties Mikel Merino has had to face throughout his football career is being underrated. Even though he played for Spain and was key to their winning Euro 2024, he's not getting the appreciation he deserves. But with his move to Arsenal, passes, speed and tackling ability, hopefully he'll get more attention to his name now. And if Arsenal are lucky, they'll allow a player who's brimming with talents waiting to be used on the pitch. What do you think about Mikel Merino? Is his style of play perfect for Arsenal? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And if you loved this video, kindly like, share and subscribe to the channel for more football videos.